The prisoner who became a president had a special place in the soul of a nation thousands of miles away from his own. From streets to squares and statues, signposts of a relationship which did much to raise awareness of the struggle against apartheid outside South Africa, but also a measure of the mutual affection and affinity between Nelson Mandela and the United Kingdom. It's hard to imagine a place he was held in higher esteem than in the London borough of Brixton, a place he asked to go to during his 1996 state visit.
It was a tremendously exciting day. None of us had ever expected that Madiba himself would be coming to Brixton. Up until '81, when there was all the troubles here, we were locked out of the system ourselves. So we identified what was happening there. It was the most extreme version of what we were experiencing. So he embodied all these hopes and dreams. And this is the heart, you know, it's like Harlem. It's the heart of the black community in the country. And he was coming here.
I wish I had big pockets so that when I leave, I can take all of you and put them in my pockets.
Mandela's presence in Brixton changed my life personally. That was a turning point for me. I never actually saw myself as a leader, and Mandela's presence taught me that in order to be a leader, you have to serve the community.
Many who waited to see him that day were not even born when he was imprisoned, but that didn't matter. The anti-apartheid movement here was spearheaded by charismatic South Africans in exile. Among the committed British volunteers was a young mother, Christabel Gurney.
The anti-apartheid movement ran on a huge amount of conviction, belief and very little money. We were activists, we went and did things and we demonstrated and we leafleted and we went to concerts and we boycotted and we picketed shops. There was a tremendous positive feeling that we were involved in something that was really worth doing.
By the 1970s, sporting boycotts became a powerful tool for raising consciousness. But Mandela himself was not yet the focus of the campaign. Trevor Phillips was a student when he joined the anti-apartheid movement, and he met Mandela in Brixton.
I was rather dimly aware of Nelson Mandela at the beginning. I think Nelson Mandela grew on us as a figure the longer he was in jail, because it just became clear this guy could make or break, and he became... what happened to him became symbolic.
Anti-apartheid sentiment increased as escalating violence inside South Africa was broadcast regularly on the news. There was a permanent protesting presence outside South Africa House in London. British trade interests were targeted and calls for boycotts against South Africa produce began to make an impact. But Mrs Thatcher's government ignored growing international calls for sanctions.
I think that Margaret was more than anybody else hostile to the use of sanctions because she thought they were a negative way of achieving things. She was concerned about doing damage to the people of South Africa without persuading the leadership.
The vast majority of British people were not persuaded by their own government. London remained the focus of the anti-apartheid campaign. Calling for Mandela's release by the late 1980s was central to a massive pop concert in London, which was beamed around the world. It was Mandela's story which galvanised people across generations, colour and creed.
Well, I think there's no doubt in my mind that the 17th birthday concert was the thing which really woke people up, not just in Britain, but in the whole world. It took the man right into the heart of everyone's living room, which we had never achieved by the written word or even the spoken word. And that really did it, without doubt.
In the years after Nelson Mandela was released, his warm relationship with the UK continued, and he never forgot the part this country played in the struggle that was his life.